Why did you betray your religion?
I never betrayed anybody. My religion, my family. Being an Arab in Israel, you have to fill a certain expectation. I don't meet expectations. Hello, my name is Yahya Mohammed. I grew up hating Israel, and after October 7th, I'm in the ranks of the IDF, protecting the only Jewish country.
X is the most important social media platform in the world. On the free speech platform, everyone's thoughts and questions matter. That's why we let you ask your questions through Visagrad24.
Do you feel a Muslim living in Israel or an Israeli that is Muslim?
I feel that I am an Israeli who happens to be Muslim. I love it when I go abroad to Europe or America and they see my Israeli passport, and when they open it expecting my name to be David or something else, and they see Mohammed, and I see the eyebrow just raising, their confusion. And yes, Israel is just a melting pot of different cultures, and I think it's not known enough.
Are you Sunni or Shia?
Israel has only Sunni Muslims, but we have other kind of Muslims living in here. But I am Sunni and the majority are Sunni.
Ask him if he knows what the Qur'an is.
Yes, the Qur'an is our holy book, and before joining the IDF, I was part of a movement called the Islamic movement. And part of the first things that I remember from my childhood was that they wanted to send me to India to convert people to Islam. I was praying 5 times a day. I was part of the community in the masjid. I know very well what the Qur'an is.
Why are you still Muslim if Quran 5:51 says do not take unbelievers as your friend?
We cannot live in 2024 and follow every letter to the exact thing that's written. We have imams who have decided to go forward and put Muslims on the right path to civilization and to outcast people who believe in the literacy of doing everything literally in the Quran. That's a very bad thing to consider. We can't read every holy book and do exactly that. They were written a few thousand of years ago. I think they don't exactly fit today's narrative. Do
you scream Allahu Akbar when engaging enemies?
No, I usually say that in the shower. No.
If you are a Muslim, why did you join IDF? Islam prohibits every action these forces commit.
It's very funny because one of the things that all religions share between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam is a verse that I like to remember all the time. Whomever saves one soul, it's like they saved the entire world. And whoever kills one soul is like they killed the entire world. So I viewed it as my number one mission in the IDF is just to save one person. Every soldier in some sense or another is carrying this with him, and it's very beautiful.
How do they sleep, referring to Muslims in the IDF, honestly?
I sleep very well. I sleep very well knowing that during my entire service there was never a terrorist attack in my area where I served. I have only seen smiles and civilians who went out and enjoyed their day while I'm on duty.
Do you think Israel brutally murdered thousands of innocent children?
I don't think we targeted children. We never do target children. There are collateral damage, and it is sad. It's very sad. It affected me. Seeing blood on the ground affects every human being. But I can sleep very well knowing that we did not target specifically children and civilians. We do everything we can not to do that.
Did your service affect your faith, made it stronger, weaker, altered it?
It made it much, much more complicated. To go to a mosque that I don't know, out of my community, to pray, it became more challenging after I joined the army. And not only that, I do Israel advocacy and my face is known to other Arabs. So it made things complicated. But recently I have seen more religious figures opening spaces for people like me in their mosques. A lot of Israeli Arabs, young people, saw what I did and decided to follow through. And some did, including a very religious Muslim woman who went and enrolled to be a combat soldier in the IDF. So she was wearing the IDF uniform with a head covering and an M16. Seeing examples like that really give me a lot of energy to continue forward.
Do you get accommodations to practice your faith?
There's a time to pray, there's a time to fast. They accommodated me on every single thing. I also accommodated them because I went to the IDF to serve the people, and I saw it. My personal opinion was that there's a limit to my needs, and the big majority is going to be to what the country needs.
If he falls in combat, does he get 72 virgins in heaven?
No, my girlfriend forbids me. No 72 virgins for me.
Do you consider yourself also a Palestinian? What is a Palestinian identity to you?
I don't consider myself as a Palestinian. My grandmother, who was born in Tulkarem in the West Bank, she identified as Palestinian. I always say that my grandmother is Palestinian, but I am not. She was the biggest Zionist I've ever met.
Do you think it is right to serve in an army that considers you a second-class citizen, or a country that marginalized you by calling itself a Jewish state only?
We never called ourselves a Jewish state. We are a Jewish democratic state. Every day of my last 6 months in the army, I was in charge of raising the flag and saluting it every morning. And we sing Hatikva. It never missed my mind that this is a Jewish country. But at the same time, there are also Israeli Arabs who are living here, who have the sky is the limit, really. The sky is the limit. However much somebody wants to get in and integrate into the bigger Israeli society, you can do it.
Do you support the demolition of Al-Aqsa Mosque and building the third temple on top of it?
The first nation that allowed the Jews to pray freely on the Temple Mount were the Muslims. And I believe in my mind that we will live to see a day where Muslims and Jews pray on the Temple Mount right next to one another. My faith, my moral compass tells me that my prayer will not be heard if I demolish another person's temple to build mine. Now, the status quo on the Temple Mount, there's a lot of things to say about it, but I think demolition and stuff like that is out of the question.
What has Israel done for you?
Israel has given me a home. Israel has kept my family safe. Israel gave me a safe space where I can study, where I have a very stable life, which is a luxury apparently in the Middle East. Israel gave me a sense of security and opportunities that I will not find anywhere else in the Middle East.
What do you think about all the pro-Palestinians calling Israel an apartheid state?
To say misinformed, to say the least. But the Palestinian was never about the Palestinians. It was never about the Palestinians. It was never about Palestine. It was about just attacking Jews. And now the Jewish nation has a country, and now they want to attack the Jewish country using Palestinians and Palestine as a tool. If this was taken out of the equation, another thing would be brought into the equation to fill this void.
What do Muslim IDF soldiers say to other Muslims who accuse them of being traitors?
The IDF stands at the borders of Israel, protecting everybody inside the country. The IDF stopped weapons from being smuggled into Israel, and we know that Israeli Arab communities are suffering from violent crimes right now, and those weapons that are being stopped by the IDF and drugs making their way into our Arab community. Israeli Arabs should serve in the IDF because the benefit of it to our community is just absolutely massive.
Will IDF soldiers be deployed in Gaza who have relatives in the Gaza Strip?
The IDF actually avoids that. The IDF actually avoids that. They asked me, I have family in the West Bank, and they asked me when I drafted, where does my family live exactly? So they make sure that I don't operate in the same thing. The Israeli police follows the same statute. It's a very known thing.
Should an Israeli be able to build a house in the West Bank?
This question implies that those people are doing something wrong, and it puts me as an Israeli Arab in an awkward situation. Because if they're doing something wrong by living in the West Bank, just simply existing in the West Bank, then what do we say about the 2 million Arabs who are living in Israel? Are they also doing something that they're not supposed to do? It's a very short-sighted question.
Do you think there should be a Palestinian state?
I think that the future that I have in Israel and the future that my neighbors have in the West Bank are very much tied together. Whatever future happens there and whatever they achieve, it affects me, and whatever I achieve, they affect them. A statehood or not, it doesn't matter. The first step that we need to do is stop the violence.
What would you advise Hamas leaders as a Muslim?
I already advised the late Yahya Sinwar to release the hostages on Israeli national TV. That was the only way we could end the war. Unfortunately, my voice went into the pool of many other voices in Arabic and Hebrew and English and any other language, but Hamas is deaf. I wait as an Israeli soldier, I wait for the proud Palestinian leader that loves their people more than they hate Israel to come. I still have yet to see another leader like that.